don't know what happened there, but I ended it because something was tripping out. So I just stopped
Well,
it right there.
here we are.
Here we are. So we got Drew back. We just did an interview. It was great, Drew. I had a lot of fun, by the way.
Thanks, brother.
And a former Jersey guy, and then we got Octagon Betts, Jersey guy, but he's on the loose right now in Tennessee. Welcome to the show, boys.
What's up, my brother? How we doing?
Yeah, I got two. I gamble for fun a little bit. I got two. You guys are a different level than me, but so I'll lead the dance here, and you guys can say your pieces, and people should pick up on you guys because you guys are a different level with this. So, of course, one fight was canceled, but Betts, there was 15 fights on this card, correct?
I believe so. It was a big card. It was 14 or 15.
Yo, and it's a lot of like I was saying when Drew lost his connection, like fight night headliners, really, like, right? Like almost like a lot of them. Like I think even Darren Elkins might have like been a fight night headliner at one point.
Yeah, there's a lot of big names on here. Or not big, or used to be big names-esque.
So I did my picks. You'll see them up there as we go through. And I picked some underdogs, some weird ones. Last week I was not, 2 weeks ago I was not hot. I've been hot. Like I've been hot in the pick 'em, but I haven't hit a lot of like money, but like I've been hot in the pick 'em. So anyway, let's go through this. We'll go through the early ones pretty quick, Drew, because I don't whatever. So I can't even say this girl's name. Yasmin, I'll call her though. Is that Nunez's wife?
Stella Nunez?
Is that Nunez? Is that she's not related?
I don't know.
No.
All right, I thought maybe it was her wife. I got Yasmin by KO in the first. We'll go down. So you go ahead, Betts, and then we'll go to Drew and come back.
Yeah, I got Yasmin too. Estelle's never really impressed me, to be honest. Yasmin's drastically younger, I believe. Yeah, 7 years younger. So I typically take the younger fighter here, especially in the women's fights. Typically just kind of know what's going on more than the older fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drew?
For me, similar to Betts, I'm siding with Yasmin, but typically when I break down the fights or on the article and different things, I tend to stay away from women's MMA. I enjoy the fights, I enjoy the passion, but from a betting perspective, I just can't put my money anywhere near that.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
I have to make a pick for Tapology though. So
exactly. So if we have to pick gun to head, I'll go with Yasmin.
Yeah. No, and I think a woman fight messed up my parlay the other day, and I don't know why. And then I was thinking, why did I have that even in there? Like, what the hell was going on?
Take the over. Take the over.
Yeah, we got Francis Marshall, Marcelo Roja. Roja's got a lot of red on his Tapology here. Marshall again, 23, young. Now that kind of goes the opposite. I feel like a lot of younger guys get in trouble in the UFC. But that being said, I got Marshall's, and Tapology, we got to pick away. I got second round submission. He's got some submissions on his thing. 6-0 guy. What do you got, Betts?
Yeah, I also have Marshall. I've been looking forward to his debut ever since watching him on the Contender Series. He had a tough fight on the Contender Series, but he did get the contract at the end of the day. Fought very hard for it. But yeah, I'm taking Marshall. I have him submission round one. I think that's really his only path to victory. I don't see him knocking him out, but I think he gets a submission pretty easily in round one. Shoots a lot of takedowns, very good wrestling. So that's what I got.
What do you got, Drew?
Again, I'm going with Francis. He's a Jersey guy too.
Yeah.
He went to TCNJ, so shout out to him for that. But like Bet said, he had a really, really tough fight on the Contender Series, but that showed his grit, showed what he's about, and showed that he belongs at this level. And against Marcelo Rojo, I feel like that's like the best introduction to the UFC fans that he can have. Marcelo's going to bring it, and I think Francis averaging 6 takedowns per 15 minutes is
almost, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna definitely try to take this to the ground and pound. And Marcelo, very hittable, exciting. So I'm just gonna go with Marshall, the Jersey guy.
Exactly. He also has almost double the output in strikes landed per minute, which is I wouldn't have expected that, but help him set up takedowns even more. So
Put it this way: as a stat, if you want to take anything about anything home, Marcelo Rojo absorbs 7 strikes a minute. You know, and Marshall averages 7 strikes a minute. So let's just take that into perspective. Marcelo's going to get hit a lot.
Did I not say these two are going to get along? Everybody, did I say this? Matchmaker. This could be bad. These guys could end up either real rich or in the gutter somewhere. All right,
one of the two.
Yeah.
Something. Next up, we got Latine Levy 7-1 versus Valdez is 10-1, coming off a loss. Now, slight favorite to Levy. I went with Levy by decision. He looks all big and muscular, but he doesn't finish a lot, it looks like, from what I was looking back at. So that's what I got. What do you got, Betts?
I got the exact same thing. I'm trying to remember what his last fight was.
It was ugly.
Yeah, I remember not being impressed. I think he got the win. I have him by decision this fight, but I'm very up in the air. Depending on what the line gets to on Valdez, you might take it out of value, but I do think Levy wins. But I'm not confident in saying that.
So prior to me even watching tape on these guys, I already didn't want to take Natan because of his last fight. Because don't get me wrong, he is a stud. When he's on and he has everything clicking, the dude's a stud. But at this level, at the UFC level, I think that's where he got exposed. His gas tank got exposed. And the deeper he goes into fights, he's very, very vulnerable. He's only 1-1 in the UFC. LFA, he's 5-0. LFA's competition it's good. It's not bad, but it's not the UFC. And in the 2 fights he's had in the UFC, he's looked kind of questionable. Like you said, the deeper these fights go, he can't seem to find those finishes. And he is dominant, but then he just somehow falls off a cliff with his gas tank. And against Valdez here, who loves to create chaos, I think that this falls into his game where he's not going to have to go into deep rounds because Valdez just wants to get it over with quick anyway. So first or second round finish for Levy. But I'm very hesitant because up until I saw Valdez on tape, I almost wanted to just fade this fight altogether.
Yeah. Okay, but if you got Levy, right? You think you're gonna?
Oh yeah.
This fight's off.
I say Levy should win, but
is Cortez? Is
Is
Cortez pregnant? I was reading some junk on the internet, and that's what's his name's girlfriend, right? That's
Ortega.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody has said that on. I mean, it's just.
I doubt that's true. She wouldn't have given a fight if she was.
Hey, if it's true, congratulations to Brian Ortega. All right, it's true. Okay. All right, next up, we got Elkins versus Pierce. Okay, Elkins been in the UFC for a long time, 27-10. We got somebody crazier. Greed has got 22 losses coming up later in this card. But heavy favorite to Pierce. Again, 30 years old, a lot less wear and tear. He's 13-4. He's won 4 in a row. Elkins is damaged at this point. His name is the Damage. You know, I was going to come with something like that, right? But I feel like he's, and Cub Swanson, broke his face thing pretty good. So I'm going Pierce. I'm going to think he's going to get him out of there in a second. Or just sometimes Elkins comes in bleeding like Nate Diaz and just can't make a doctor stoppage or something. So what do you got, Betts?
Yeah, I also have Pierce here, but I have him by knockout in round 1. Dude usually brings it in his fights. I believe he beat Kamaka. He lost to Lozin. He had years ago, a good Contender Series fight that actually brought him into the UFC. But he does bring in, and I believe, I'm pulling it up right now, typically gets finishes. He has a pretty high variety of finishes that he's actually gotten. So if he comes out, I mean, he's averaging almost 2-3 times as many takedowns per minute. Elkins doesn't have the best takedown defense. He has 50% about. But I mean, even John Pierce outstrikes him too. So I just think Pierce gets him out of there under 1.5, probably first round.
All right, Drew.
Yeah. In my breakdown, I actually mentioned that I think this is Elkins' last fight.
Yeah.
This could be it. I mean, he's had a great run. Jonathan Pierce, or JSP, as he goes by, is the real deal. He averages 6.75 takedowns a fight. He, with the 60% accuracy to those takedowns, and damage is just damaged. He's damaged goods, man. He's in here just to because he has the fighting spirit, and that's really all there is to there is about it. Jonathan Pierce is levels above him at this stage because it's just, dude. This is literally Dana just saying, "All right, bro, here, get that last check, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame sometime." Because
Yeah,
it's over.
and
So
that I always feel like because I'm a guy again, I'm not like hung up on any fighter fully, but like when I watch Frankie go back out there, I'm like, don't do this, man. You don't need to do this. It's kind of like the same thing. Like if you're just going out there on your warrior spirit, and then they throw these lion at you, like I'm always like, is this check worth it, Darren? Like, you know what I mean? Like because that's where we're going with this one, right? Like, is this worth it? Like Clay Guida's fight another old man. Like Elkins is not. Elkins is fighting a lion. So. Yeah, I hope he comes out healthy for this last fight if this is his last fight. All right, next up, Michael Johnson. Okay, so again, Michael Johnson, right? Stun Khabib. Remember that, everybody? Versus Mark DeCassi. Now, DeCassi, I'm never impressed with. I'm sorry, I don't really like British fighters. I mean, I don't like French fighters even worse, but like I don't like British fighters usually. DeCassi I've not liked. I think I've lost a couple bucks on him before. That being said, I think the time has caught up to Johnson as well. He's only 36, which I was like, man, I'm surprised he's been fighting forever. 20-18 record, like he's almost 500 at this point, right? A lot of red on his Tapology. DeCassi's not great, but I think he gets this done by decision. I don't think he finishes. Johnson's pretty tough to finish, but I got him by decision. What do you guys got?
Yeah. So I'm Casey by decision. However, like you mentioned, he's never like every fight I go into watching him expecting something amazing, like expecting him to live up to his potential, and it's like never there. I do have him winning. Michael Johnson does outstrike him, but he doesn't get hit very much. He does throw a lot or attempt a lot more takedowns than Michael Johnson, obviously. But Michael Johnson has like 80 or 85% takedown defense, I believe. So I don't think that this fight's going to actually go to the ground. Maybe it does later rounds, but Jacasey should be able to stand and trade with him if he can keep his movement, not get hit. I have Jacasey winning, but if Michael Johnson goes up above plus like 250, might be worth taking him to almost triple your money from that perspective. But I just have a weird feeling with Michael Johnson at that level. But my official pick's Jacasey.
Yeah, that's good. If it does go up to like 250, Johnson can win the fight, but I don't think he is. So what do you got, Drew?
Johnson, when he's in the right mindset, one of the best in the world, dude. And he's powerful as all hell, but so is DeCasey. And if I have to be the coach of either fighter, it's going to be Johnson, keep this on the feet, keep it in the clinch, hit him with elbows, keep him at a distance. DeCasey, wrestle your ass off. And that's pretty much where I see this fight going for DeCasey. So I have him winning by decision. Because Johnson, one thing that he does do is the minute he gets discouraged, he just falls off a cliff. So if DeCasey can put that pressure on him with the wrestling and discourage Michael Johnson, then he might not even want to be in the fight anymore. You might even see DeCasey get a finish. I mean, DeCasey can crack. But when you're up against a more technical striker like he is with Johnson, he's going to have to go with the bread and butter, and I feel like that's his wrestling. So give me DeCasey by decision.
All right. We agree a lot, don't we? I mean, you guys have stats back. There we go. So look at Guida's picture, everybody. The locks, right, flowing. Guida, they used to sell him as like this like entertaining guy, and he just would like wrestle a dude. They really marketed him like back in the day. I remember, and I'm like, yeah, he's pretty boring. Like, he comes out all crazy and like he reminds me of like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Like he comes out, and then like whatever. He's a slight underdog. He's fighting Scott Holtzman, who's got a lot of red on his Tapology, 14-5. Looks like Holtzman has not adapted to the UFC well, because when your record's 14-5 and it's all red, almost all red here, that means he's not done well. He's 39. Clay Guida's only 40 still, which is crazy to me. Like, I feel like he's been fighting forever. He's 37-22, guys. Like, That's a lot of losses, and he's not really ever been like put cold, right? Like, has he ever been put cold? Like, I don't think so. Like, does anybody remember him ever getting like flatlined? He's been beat on, yeah, but I don't
He's
remember
been
him
beat
ever
up,
getting.
but I don't think he's been.
I think wasn't he just stopped by Puelles or did that go to decision?
I was in knee bar though.
Oh yeah, you're right. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah. Okay.
I don't think
Which-
he's like he's a pretty
You
amazing.
should tap too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got Guida by decision here. Again, he's not. This isn't like a where you said like with Elkins, like, hey, get your last check and be done. Like Guida's durable. You know, he again doesn't get flatlined. I don't see that happening this time either. I got him by decision in typical boring Clay Guida fashion. What do boys have here?
Yeah, so I actually also have Guida by decision here. I want to take Holtzman, and I understand why he is the favorite. But like, yeah, he's coming off 2 losses, like you mentioned, but those losses were actually to Dariush and Gamro, who are 2 of the top of the division. I know Holtzman lost to Drew Dober years ago,
Right.
but it just seems like guys who are pretty well rounded and kind of bring it, he doesn't do exceptionally well against guys who will just storm him right off the bat. And Guida's a guy who will do that. I have his stats of Guida does dominate him statistically in terms of grappling. However, Holtzman does land more strikes per minute. But he also gets hit way more than Guida does. I just think if Guida storms him, he could potentially finish it early on, or at least like take away Holtzman's confidence and win by decision. But I do like Guida, especially as a dog here.
Well, here's where I'm going to have to go against both you guys here because I like Scotty here. And only for the reason that Clay at this point, his game plan is what dictates his win, right? So he's going to have to wrestle a bunch. And if you look at Scott Holtzman, record and the people he's fought, he has fought some really good competition. Dairouche, Gamrot, Jim Miller, which he beat. And if you have to look at those fighters, they can all really grapple. They can all really mix it up. They're all pretty much well-rounded. Now, Clay Guida is well-rounded, but he's not particularly a good striker. He just gives you a couple jabs, hook, but it's mainly just to get into his grappling and then try to pretty much just outpace you and dominate you and pretty much try to make you break. And what I feel like the difference will be is that Scott is going to create more damage with his striking because, like you mentioned, he does produce more output. And Clay, where he attempts more takedowns, Scott has a 66% takedown defense, which is, it's pretty good because Clay's accuracy for takedowns is only 37%. So if we're talking numbers, I feel like Scott will be able to negate a couple takedowns and probably create more damage. And if we've seen Clay Guida fights too, once he gets that hair out of his eyes, he does look pretty beat up after round 1, round 2. So
as he should.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, we're just making picks. If I had to put money on it, not putting money on either of these guys. I'm just going to enjoy the fight. But I'm going with Scott by knockout or a decision. So double chance.
He's not flatlining them though.
No. Just stoppage. Just stoppage.
So we got a couple people in the room. We got Just My 2 Cents, one of my favorites. I got to interview that guy. Insight and Panel, he says, what's up? And we got Teddy in here. This is a hard fight. We got Just My 2 Cents. MJ and Mark Ducassi could really be exciting. Or if D1
you see?
Really fucking boring, right?
Yep.
Teddy, I would take Holtzman by decision at plus 150. All right, yeah, okay. So there's some money there, I guess. Good little room there. All right, next up, we got more girls, and I don't know why Overkill. I feel like she should be further down the card. But her annoying little voice on the, when she's
she's Angela Hill, man. You got to give her the respect she's due. She's been robbed a lot of times.
So she has been, but she kind of reminds me of Masvidal a bit. She starts slow and keeps the fight so close every time. Like she's like a split decision queen. Remember Masvidal early on in his career, like the the newer guys don't remember. Like he would just start so late in the 3-round fight. You're like, yo, bro, what were you doing? You know. Anyway, we got Takata versus Angela Hill. Hill's always in a fight. You know what I mean? She's got the 3 losses in between the two wins. New York City, 37 now. It's getting old. Again, we said before we're trying to stay away from women's MMA when betting. I got Takata by decision though. That's what I'm doing.
You know, I don't like taking the same picks as you. We've been bad luck doing that, but I also got Emily by decision here.
We've had good luck too, though.
We've had good luck too. But that's not wrong. We have had good cards copying each other or agreeing with each other. But like just statistically, Emily outstrikes and Angela gets hit a lot. I don't think either girl has the capability of finishing the other. If anything, I think Emily would finish Hill here. She does have a few stoppages in her career, but this is her second fight in the UFC. Like she doesn't have a lot of UFC experience, but just how much younger she is. Just watching her, like she'll push a lot of striking, and I mean, at the end of the day, in the judge's eyes, whoever strikes more is going to win the fight. I don't think Angela Hill's going to wrestle. She has half a takedown per 15 minutes. And Emily is 100% takedown defense, not saying that's a huge statistic as it's over one fight, but like I do have Emily here by striking decision.
I have Angela. And I have Angela by decision, mainly because I feel like experience is going to play a huge part in this. Emily's sample size that we have is that big. So, and she fought Jessica Penn her first fight, which she did well, but whatever. I just don't. I mean, like you said, I'm with the numbers, I'm with the statistics, but for this fight, I'm of course going to stay away from it. I'm just going to enjoy Angela Hill, win as a dog. But essentially, I just feel experience is going to play a huge part in this. Emily will come out strong, but like you, that 0.61% that she grapples or that she attempts, I think is going to play a part in this because when they take it up against the fence, like she likes to do in fights, Angela, that's where I think she's going to find her single leg, double leg, and make it ugly. All of her fights are ugly.
That's true.
And if Emily can get out of the rounds where she's used to winning, used to finishing fights like she did in Invicta and things like that, that can mess with you. You're at a different level. You're at the heights of all heights. You're fighting technically a future Hall of Famer in Angela Hill. I mean, she's been up and down in the division. She's more household than any female fighter you probably know of. It's a big spot for Ducote. So it's fun. Everyone's gonna go with Emily, but if I have to just pick them, I'm gonna go with Angela Hill by decision.
Now, not everybody is going with it because look, we got Teddy Hill by decision, but I wouldn't touch this fight with money only picks, like we just said. So you got Teddy in the room. You know, he's with you here, Drew. I just think age catches up with you at some point. I think this is it. But let's go next. Hey, I'm old, man. I know you don't get the back. Your knees don't come back. You know, stuff hurts that you didn't think would hurt from previous things. Like he's stuff getting old. Anyway, let's get into this Nico Price, who's been like, was he like not like a prospect always, or like what is his deal, Nico Price? Versus Philip Rowe. So there's an even fight. If you want to touch it, you could touch it. I got Rowe by decision, just on the strength of his last performances are a little better than Price, but and they're about the same age, so it's a close matchup. What are you boys doing with the numbers?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to take Nico Price here by KO. This dude, I don't really know why I have KO in there, but I'm taking him by KO. I just think he's extraordinarily weird. Like, I don't really know my reasoning there, but like I just felt, you know, when you're sitting there trying to choose a decision, like I know that Nico Price in my mind wins the fight, and I think he has multiple ways to win it, but I just wanted to put it on the knockout pretty early on. I think it'll be a very, very entertaining fight, or it should be. But yeah, I got Nico. by my knockout.
I got Rowe. And the only reason I got Rowe is because this is probably one of the last times you're ever going to see him as a dog like this until he gets to the height of the division, like challenging for Bellator top 10 or top 5. Because the
You
guy
like
is,
him?
yeah, I really, really do. He has a very, very small sample size. He's only 2-1 in the UFC. But if you watch his fights and if you watch his progression and if you know where he's coming from, training with guys at Fusion XL like Jacare and other guys like that, the guy is legit. And Nico Price, like you said, is one of the weirdest fighters you've ever seen. One thing about him, though, is that he's durable as all hell. That we can say. His durability, if we had to rate it like in a video game, it's at 199. The guy's durable, but he's hittable as all hell. He absorbs 5.67 strikes per minute, and he doesn't defend well either, only 47%. His takedown accuracy is only at a 22%. So if he tries to take down Phil Rowe, I don't think that's going to work. And if he leaves his neck out there, Phil Rowe can sub you. He does have submission finishes on his record. His last 2 wins have finished in the first round, and Phil Rowe simply hits harder, in my opinion. Anybody can get caught. It's 4-ounce gloves. It's the UFC. We know that. But if we want to talk about technical skill and overall power, Phil Rowe. And that's why I think Phil Rowe wins by knockout. But because Nico Price is also durable and we've seen him get hit with everything but the kitchen sink, I'm going to probably take a double chance if you guys on FanDuel or anywhere else. And Phil Rowe by KO or decision. And you should get a nice odd there. And you should be good there. Or just in the money spot. I mean, because he's a dog. So,
Do you know what the
plus
line is?
115.
He's a dog now?
When I took him, he was plus 115.
I know he I have let me see if I can find it. I have all the DraftKings opening lines.
This is what it was when I did my picks earlier today.
And I went to BetMGM.
He
I was on
opened at
BetMGM.
minus 120. So it slid pretty heavily. And I know he botched his weight cut decently bad. I think it was 3 pounds or 2.5 pounds over at weigh-ins, which is another reason that I was kind of taking Price just out of weirdness. But
Teddy's going Price by decision at plus 350. There's Teddy.
Yeah. Like I think Phil Rowe's really like super legit, Drew. Like kind of what you were saying. It's just this specific matchup. I think I.
Oh no. Hey, listen. Personally, I felt like it was the best matchup for Rowe because of the type of fighter that Nico is. But you're right, bringing up the weight cut, which to me, weight cuts are weird. Like me being a competitor myself, sometimes those things are like strategy, in my opinion, because I've seen a lot of people miss weight on purpose just because they don't want to, go into the fight uncomfortable or whatever it is. And it's 2-3 pounds. If you don't care about losing 20% and you think you're going to make more by knocking this fool out, it is what it is.
I agree there. We never know. We only see numbers,
exactly. Like we just can all speculate and just make the best decision we think we're making. But at the end of the day, my gut says Rowe, and I don't like to go against my gut. So let's roll.
So I can't, Teddy. It's not that I don't want to put you up there, but the way I have this StreamYard, because I don't know how to do it any better, it covers Drew. So I only put it up when Drew's not talking. Up, take it down. So Teddy has said Rowe is a slight dog at plus 110 under what he's got going on. My Tapology, Rowe was favored, but whatever. It's a pick'em fight. Looks like anyway, regardless. So now we were still in the prelims, dudes. like you see, it's red there. Like red is prelims. Like holy shit. Like dude. So now we finally get to the main card, right? You're gonna start with Eric Anders, right? Who I think he played football at Alabama or somewhere. I forgot. Like he came in. He's fought a lot of guys. He's 14-7 now. He's gone up and down in weight, trying to figure out where he belongs. Can't really figure it out. Superior athlete, not a fighter, more of an athlete. He's fighting Kyle Dukakis, who's coming off getting his face broken, I thought, right? Did he not get his face broken recently?
He got messed up by Roman Dolidze.
Wasn't his face shattered? Like, how is he back already?
Some things look worse than what they feel, but that was bad.
Well, my thing is like Dawkins, like he's got a little bit of hype behind him. Philly people are always pretty tough from being from Jersey here, but don't like somebody coming back that fast from something like that. So that's the only reason I'm doing this. Anders is 35. Again, I never seen him as a fighter. I always saw him as an athlete. But coming off getting your face broken, I don't think fighting a guy with that kind of strength is a good idea. Really, I don't know. I'm not really feeling good about coming back that fast. So I got Anders by KO as another dog. I picked a lot of dogs, by the way. I don't know why, but this is what I did. So what do you got?
Yeah, I actually got Dawkins here. I forget by what. Ivan by submission, round 2. I these guys who go from football to MMA, I respect them, but they do have flaws. Football. Growing up, I grew up playing football. Everything that you learn is explosiveness. Especially Kyle coming off of this injury. Anders might not know that, but he for sure knows that. Might come out, try to push a pace, get caught by something. Kyle, I believe, is a very good wrestler, from what I remember. He averages a lot of takedowns per 15 minutes. Anders does have good defense, but if he's coming out there trying to be explosive as all, really push that pace and go for the knockout, he's probably going to get taken down and subbed. Dawkins does have several submissions on his record. His last one came against Jamie Pickett. So I do have Dawkins by round 2 sub.
So I'm on the same boat. I have Kyle Dawkins, and I believe he's going to have to use his jiu-jitsu to come out victorious in this fight because Eric Anders, like you mentioned, is a very explosive fighter. He relies on his athleticism as an athlete, and I believe the only reason he's doing MMA is because of his confidence as an athlete. When you're a lifelong athlete, when you win a championship for Alabama, you think you can do anything in the world. So you think anything that you touch is going to turn into gold. And MMA has been has been up and down for him, but he does show promise. I mean, he says it himself. He has unlimited potential. But at the end of the day, Eric Anders, when he fights, he brawls. So as long as Kyle Dawkins can stay clear of the power shots, and when they're up against the fence, not eat a couple elbows that'll put him to sleep like he did against Roman. I think he can get this fight to the ground. I think he can drag Eric into deep waters because when you carry a frame like Anders around, your gas tank is not really your strong suit, let's just say. And the way that he fights, he throws a lot into all of his strikes. So I say that to say Dawkins by submission, and I even sprinkled a little bit of Dawkins by KO TKO in the 3rd round at plus 2,800 for anybody wanting to be a DGen. So yeah, Dawkins by submission.
We're about to find out. I don't forget things, just so you guys do know. And it's a gift and a curse for me. But I will if my man Anders does what I think he's going to do, because this guy's not right. I will just have your Twitter ready.
Tag me, bro.
You will be tagged. All right, let's get to the next one. No, it's all love, of course. So we again another fight. And Anders also headlined, I believe, some fight nights. Jack Hermanson, and Doldes. That's the guy who broke the guy's face, right?
Dolite, yep, cracked him.
Yeah. So and that dude looks like a monster.
Yep. It was a knee. Mm-hmm.
I went back and forth with this one because this was not easy for me. Hermanson, nothing special, really good wrestler, right? I have him just decisioning him, kind of getting the guy tired, not getting his face broken, staying away from that kind of interaction with him. And I have him winning by decision. Not fun. There's not a lot of fun things about Jack, I feel like, but I'm going to take him in this one. He's going to be able to deal with the explosiveness better than some, and I have him winning. I'm not like crazy about it, but what are you boys doing with it?
This, I don't know if it's a crazy pick or not. I actually have Hermanson by submission. See Drew's face. I don't know if he's agreeing with me or disagreeing with me here, but Oh, perfect. So I personally don't really like Roman Dolidze. Great fighter. I don't think he's a very good human being, but that doesn't play into the fight at the end of the day. But Roman does have a lot of takedowns. Jack outstrikes him. Um, Roman doesn't get hit quite a bit, but at the level that Jack throws strikes, he is going to get hit eventually. And Roman actually has almost like 30% takedown defense. Jack doesn't attempt takedowns as much as Roman does, but either way, I think that Roman is going to get caught in something. At the end of the day, Hermanson has caught many people. He fought, I believe, Mearshart and submitted Mearshart at one point in his career, and he has submitted other people. Let me pull it. I don't think Roman has he been submitted. I don't think he's ever been submitted in his career, and I just think tomorrow is the day that Jack does submit him. I forget what round I have, but I have him by submission.
So I have Hermanson, and if Hermanson wouldn't have fought Chris Curtis in his last fight, I probably would have had a tougher time picking out why. But honestly, Chris Curtis brings the same type of danger that Roman Dolidze brings to the octagon, which is the death touch. Roman Dolidze has 7 first-round finishes out of 12 professional fights. I believe in the UFC, yeah, overall, because he's fought 12 times. And Dolidze is pretty much knockout or bust. And I don't think he's looking to win this fight by decision. And Hermanson just wants to win. So Hermanson is going to do exactly what he did against Chris Curtis, avoid the power, avoid the death touch, and get a dub. I mean, Dolidze, and like I tell everybody, this is the UFC. They're fighting with 4-ounce leather gloves. The wind can touch you and you can get knocked out. Like it's anything can happen. We've all seen it. But in this case, if we're talking game planning, if we're talking about the sport, if Hermanson does exactly what he did to Chris Curtis, he might get clipped here and there, but overall, I think he's going to dominate. He's going to hold Dolidze down, and I have him winning. You know how I mentioned double chance earlier? I have him sub or decision, only because I feel like Dolidze is educated enough to at least get himself out of submissions, but he can get tired because of the frame that he carries and because of the power that he produces when he throws strikes. He's a very powerful human being, and with power comes a price that you have to pay, and that is a bad gas tank at times. So I'm going to go with Hermanson. I have Hermanson by sub or decision. But yeah, overall, I think he's going to win. So I also have him in a parlay just because it's fun to do parlays. So yeah, there you have it.
And I'm going to let you, Drew, at the end flash like 2 parlays at people at the very end. I always do that for product and bets. Now, my thing is, I almost want the days to win. Like I don't know. My thirst for violence, Drew, like makes me almost want like this to go the other way. But my pick is the smart pick, and just like you guys did too as well. But almost want like I hate a game plan. Like Robbie Lawler's game plan was to hurt you. All right. So next, one of my favorites because he beat one of my favorites. I love Derek Lewis. If you guys don't know, like I just loved Derek Lewis. Like I don't know. I think he's hilarious and. I like a dude with that kind of power. And Derek carried his power to late too, like in fights. So does Tuivasa. He had the tough fight versus Gane. Obviously a superior athlete that, Gane engaged him. I was happy with Gane that night because Gane is who wants a track runner for a heavyweight guy, like I want to see violence. Pavlich also tore up my man Derek Lewis. So both of them did. I got to upset again here. I got a lot of upsets in my thing. I might try to put an upset parlay together for fun because my gut again is on. Even though when I like a guy, my gut gets clouded. I think, but I got Tuivasa coming back with a knockout. I think if you want to have a firefight with him, he wins those a lot. So I don't think Pavlich is a dancer like Gane who could counter strike that well. He's a power guy too. I think power guy versus power guy. Tuivasa wins power guy versus power guy usually. What are you boys doing?
I've Pavlovich round 3 knockout. I think Ty's coming back a little too soon, and I think Pavlovich is an extremely smart fighter. Yeah, his win against Derek Lewis. Yeah, it could have been early stoppage, whatever. That's out of the picture. He was winning that fight. He looked good. He can avoid power. He's extremely educated, and I just think, like I said before, like Ty just come back a little bit too soon. Pavlovich does outstrike him by almost 3 strikes per minute, which is a pretty hefty margin. Especially, where's the numbers? He has an absurd reach advantage over him. He has almost a 10-inch reach advantage over Ty.
9 inches.
9 inches, which is a huge reach advantage, especially for a guy like Ty who can basically only strike and is going to go in wanting to strike. So I do have Pavlovich round 3 knockout. I think he's patient with it.
Sergey in either 1 or 2. I took the prop for Sergey to win in rounds 1 or 2, and I also took Sergey to win by KO, TKO, or submission. Simply put, Ty's coming back too soon. Sergey has an average fight time of 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Sergey averages 7 strikes nearly of significant strikes per minute, and Ty has to close the distance against a fighter that has a 9-inch reach advantage against him. And not only that, the guy hits like a Mack truck. So Sergey by knockout, Sergey in either 1 or 2. And if you want to get tricky, Sergey in the first round, because I really don't know. Ty is very durable. But Ty fought, just so I can get the number correctly. Oh, don't die on me now. I think my mouth. Oh, got it back. Ty fought 2 months, 1 week, and 6 days ago. And Insight, you were just concerned about Dawkins, who fought 5 months ago, and he got caught in a clinch. Ty got put out. See the difference? So, Sergey.
We're about to find out, boys. Like I said, we're about to find out.
Drew, I was about to call him out on that too.
And everything you just said, Drew, about having to close distance, having to do all this, having to do all that. That's why I love Ty, because he's going to do it.
Sergey.
Yo, let's get to the next one. And I told you these guys love each other. We got Nikolai versus Schnell. Now, Schnell was in that fight where he was like getting whooped, right? Wasn't he dancing like getting the Asian guy had him like on his skates?
Yeah,
he was a zombie.
It was wild. Like I watched it on delay, and I'm like, wow, that was a crazy fight. Like it was wild. Schnell, that fight was nuts. He's going against 18-2 guy from Brazil. I don't think he derails this prospect's chances like he did the other guy. I got Nikolai by decision. What do you guys have got here?
Yeah, I've Nikolai by decision as well. However, if Schnell goes above plus 200, I probably would take him just out of pure value. I love watching Matt Schnell fight. This is also probably a fight that I did the less prep on, or the least amount of prep on. So I'm not entirely sure, but my official pick would be Nikolai by decision. But depending on the line with Schnell, I would put money on him.
So Schnell's live. We can say that. But Schnell also puts himself in a lot of danger, and he doesn't like to go to judges a lot. So because of that, if we've learned anything about those boys from Louisiana, they love to bring it. And Schnell is no stranger to that, as we saw him against Sumadarji. Now, he was a walking zombie in that fight, and the only reason he got the only reason he got through it is because the ref must have had the over, and the ref loves violence. Because Jesus Christ, like if the ref from Derek Lewis and Pavlovich fight was reffing Schnell's fight, he would have stopped it and Sumadarji was the winner. But Schnell just was able to cut through it.
Like three times, Drew.
Yeah. Literally, I think Joe was heard counting. He was like, oh, he dropped him for the 5th time. Like he just kept getting dropped. So whatever.
Violence. Yes.
If I say that to say this, I think Nicolau is a stud. I think Nicolau is pretty much better in everything that Schnell can do. Nicolau is well-rounded. He can strike. He is the smaller fighter here, which is, I guess, that's where you give Schnell the edge. But Schnell is very hittable, very, very hittable. And Nicolau is very, very accurate. He has a 56% rate with his strikes. I could be wrong. He actually could be more. Let me pull that up in a second.
Striking accuracy is 52.
There you go, 52. So, but I know Schnell is really not hot. I know his is dog shit. So let's just bring that up for a second. Yeah, striking actually for Schnell is 39%. So when you're talking about Schnell and the output that he puts out, which he puts out about a strike more than Nicolau, he is active, he is exciting, he is fun, he looks to keep everybody engaged, but he doesn't mind going out on the shield. And I feel that Nicolau is better than him in every department. So I have Nicolau double chance winning knockout or submission because if it does go to the ground, Nicolau is a dangerous, dangerous grappler. Um, so Nicolau by knockout or submission. That's how I have it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Nicolau probably is gonna take it to the ground.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
All right, so again, I'm doing weird stuff on this card. I've been doing weird stuff a lot, Drew.
Oh, you're gonna take Barberena, aren't you?
I am. And again, yeah. So I'm doing a lot of weird things. Now I started looking at this a little bit when I was looking at it. I'm like, all right, Barberena, like I thought he was a lot older too. I thought he was like Guida like type era. He's only 33. But he's been fighting a lot of old dudes, right? Like I'm looking at it's going back, he's fighting a lot of old guys, right? And then I look over and I'm like, fighting another old guy. Like, you know, I get it. It's RDA. I get it. He's in shape. I felt like RDA's last fight, obviously fighting a lot better competition than Barberena had been. I thought he kind of like looked more dead inside than I've seen him look. Like almost like, all right, this is like almost going through the motions, it looked like to me. So I got an upset here. I think he's going to starch him or stun him in the first, and RDA doesn't really want to do this anymore, which is a reach. I get it. But that's what I'm doing, and it's a wild one. I told you I got some weird shit going on, but go ahead.
Yeah, I've RDA winning here. Barberena fought the old guy you're talking about, Matt Brown. He did lose that fight, in my opinion. Matt Brown had 5 or 6 takedowns. Like what the striking difference was, a few strikes. Talk about a guy who's a better wrestler than Matt Brown. It's RDA. I get that he's come from lightweight up to welterweight, but RDA is like a pretty big guy. He's been at welterweight before. I think RDA makes pretty easy work. I think he's almost a minus 500 favorite now too. And so a lot of people jumped on him at that minus. What do you have? At minus 340. I don't think that I have RDA by finish. I think I have him by decision, just as Barberena is an extremely tough guy, and he's going to be doing everything in his will to get out of those wrestling exchanges and just that ground control that RDA is going to put on him, maybe preventing a submission there, or even like TKO. So I do have RDA decision, or at least over 2.5.
So remember how earlier I mentioned how like JSP was pretty much gonna send Elkins on his retirement, and he just fought a better fighter, or he's just about to fight a better fighter, pretty much. That's how I feel RDA went up against Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev is the real deal, dude. So if in that last fight RDA looked how he looked, it's because he's finally met his match, and the new school is catching up to the old school. Now, with that being said, this is not that. RDA is moving up to welterweight because he doesn't want to cut weight anymore. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much how I see it. He's an older cat. He wants to go into a fight week comfortable. He doesn't want to have to worry about cutting weight. And he's going into a fight against Barberena, who's going to bring it. Bam, bam. So that's perfect. So where I think this is going to end up is on the ground. My sneaky pick would probably be RDA by sub. But I honestly don't even want to touch a fight with Brian Barberena on it. So I just took RDA and threw him in a parlay. But if I have to sprinkle or something like that, I'll probably take RDA by sub. Only because I feel like, you know, the dude has 10 submission wins on his record and 10 knockouts. So he's not a stranger to getting things done on the ground. We just think because of his last couple fights that all he wants to do is stand and bang. But I feel like Betts mentioned above, he is a better grappler. He is a better wrestler. And Bam Bam is good, but he's not ready for RDA, not even at this level, and way less if he was younger.
Now,
I agree.
What could RDA go? Could he pull him into a street fight? Is the question.
The thing is, Bam Bam's going to have to pull RDA into a street fight.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But no, can he? I don't think he's going. No, he's not going to want to because Bam Bam's going to eat some shit, and he's definitely going to, and it's not going to be nice. Like RDA can strike. RDA is very technical. He's not. He's old. That's all we can say about him. That's a negative. But outside of that, if we're talking about the old guys, he's probably the best and most dangerous out of all old guys right now at this moment. So
I would love to see RDA Matt Brown.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'd like to see.
That'd be nice. But, I still think RDA wins that one too.
Yeah, you mentioned RDA Fiziev. That fight, I believe, was 2-2 going into the 5th round. I was lucky enough to be there at that fight, and RDA just got clipped. So it's not even like he was getting, on the feet he was getting pieced up by Fiziev, but who doesn't?
That's my point. Yeah, like he was getting beat up, but it wasn't like a fight where he wasn't out of it and it wasn't competitive. It was
he
just
had a lot of ground control time. Like 2-2's anybody's game, and then you get clipped 10 seconds into the 5th round. Like,
and clipped nice too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
About to get clipped again. All right, let's get to this main event, my dudes. Okay. So there's the gold background for the main event. We got Stephen Thompson. We all know the Wonderboy, right? Versus Kevin Holland, who got a little lesson on being a company man. He was not happy about things. Talking about retirement again. I think this is the quickest retirement on retirement I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of them watching fights for years, these fake retirements. Anyway, so both have some red coming off Wonderboy coming off 2 losses in a row. He doesn't fight too often either, by the way, I don't believe. Did he lose to Neil? Is that the one who lost?
No. Who?
Did he beat Neil? Did he beat Neil Thompson?
Wonderboy?
Yeah. Did he fight Jeff Neal?
No, he beat Neil. He lost to Pettis until Pettis is that right, L.
Oh yeah.
The red.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a near even fight. When I did this fight pick, Holland's 30, Wonderboy's 39. Look, Holland. We saw what happened to him on the ground versus Chimaev at that weird catch weight. I think what he did to Jacare on the ground. Like, so when Holland fights a guy that he's better than in elements, he proves it. When they find his Achilles heel, he gets exposed every time. I don't think Thompson. Yeah, he's a dynamic striker. He's got good kicks. I don't think he can get in trouble on the ground with Holland. And I have Holland submitting him in the second, which is another bold pick. But what are you boys doing with this one?
This was a fight that, in my mind, I can't make up. Like, if I had to put money on it and had to make a pick, oh man, I still am not confident saying either side. And I think I don't know if I'm biased because I really want Thompson to win, but I think Holland wins. But there's just something of me picking Holland where I'm Thompson's fought these guys that'll lay on you for 15, 25 minutes the past 2 fights. He wants to get out there. He wants to strike. I don't really know how Holland's going to go into this fight because he always says he wants to stand and bang with guys. He wants to be able to put his striking display on power or striking abilities on display. So I'm extremely undecided. For my pick, I'll probably take Holland maybe by finish. You bring up submission, I could see him maybe submitting Wonderboy on some if he really wants to do that. Or maybe Thompson by decision. I know I'm not really saying to pick, but
there's a lot of words there, though.
Yeah, Insight reached out to me, and I was like, "Dang, you're really gonna make me make my pick on the main event." Yeah. So we'll just go on to Drew.
What'd you do? Wait, what'd you do for the Tapology, though?
Oh, I have Thompson decision.
Okay.
Even that doesn't support anything I just said.
What do you got, Drew?
I think the only reason you want Thompson to win is because he's such a nice guy. That's
probably it. Yeah.
Like nobody wants to see Thompson lose. He's such a nice human being. But at the end of the day, if we're talking just stylistically and we're talking about just 2 guys, if they didn't talk, if we didn't know anything about their lives, Holland can bang. That's all we have to say about it. He has a 6-inch reach advantage, and he is the better fighter. Now, if this is headlined by some type of wrestler, Holland stays retired, but he's
Right.
back after 2 months being retired after collecting a nearly $800 million payday. That was probably the easiest. All he had to do was get submitted.
He didn't get punched
Um,
once in the fight. He got punched 0 times in that
all
fight.
he had to do was get submitted. That's it, and he collected nearly $1 million. Probably did because of all the points or whatever it is on that pay-per-view. But nonetheless, um, like I said in my breakdown, like I said, pretty much everyone that I've talked to and everywhere else, if this is not a striker and Stephen Thompson headlining this fight, Kevin Holland stays retired and he's still working on his entrepreneurial endeavors. But when you have Stephen Thompson step in, who again, like Elkins, I believe this will be his last fight, Stephen Thompson. Um, I think this is it. I think Stephen Thompson is going to ride off to the sunset, have a great karate school somewhere down south, and that's pretty much all she wrote for Stephen Thompson. He's definitely a Hall of Famer, probably. But me, I have Kevin Holland by knockout or submission. More the sub, because if he's ever in his whole career going to be a good grappler in a matchup, it's this one.
Exactly.
Stephen Thompson can grapple. Don't get me wrong. He's trained by what's his name? I forget his
Isn't
name.
Weidman his brother-in-law?
No. Yes, but he actually trains with a really good grappler. I just forget his name. It's slipping my mind right now. But he's also UFC. Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall actually trains with Stephen Thompson. So he is educated. He knows what to do. But again, when you're a striker like that, like I mentioned with Izzy in our interview, when you're a specialist, when you're a striker, all you can do at this point in your career is just be a really good defensive grappler. But you're not going to be putting people to sleep. You're not going to be transitioning from half guard to full guard and full mount like a Brian Ortega. You're just going to really be good at staying on your feet so you can um, be great where you're best at. What got you to the show? In this case, I hope Stephen Thompson doesn't get sent to the Shadow Realm.
Right.
But he is going to lose, and unless Kevin Holland just doesn't want to be there, and he's here only because taxes took a lot of his money.
Exactly. Yeah, he was like,
Um,
"Oh shit." He was like, "Oh shit, I got to give you how much?"
yeah. So, but anyway, in all seriousness, I think Holland gets it done. The money line is actually not so bad at 170. I thought it'd be greater. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Holland. I'm gonna go with Holland by submission. I'm gonna go with Holland by KO, and I'm also gonna go with Holland by KO or submission because it's fun to be a degenerate.
Boom. See, that's what we talked about in the interview. Now, this is your opportunity. We're going to get out here right at an hour mark because I know people don't really want to watch us any longer than that. Now, you could both have your chance to give your parlays to the people. So give one parlay. Don't give it all away, boys. I know you guys are serious gamblers, but each of you can close the show with the parlay. Go ahead. Hit it. Bets.
I'll just do a nice little three-legger. I like the big ones, but somebody might tail this, probably not. I don't know, but I'd go for a nice three-leg Hermanson, Dawkins, and Pavlovich. You could even throw Holland in there because I do agree Holland's probably going to win. It just my heart has Thompson, but those four with Hermanson, Dawkins, Pavlovich, and Holland.
Oof.
Just money lines.
Oof.
For safety.
Oof. All right. So for some fun, I'm gonna give you guys a prelim and a main card parlay. So it's gonna be Francis Marshall, Natan Levy, and JSP. And then we're moving on to the main card. It's gonna be Dawkins, Hermanson, and Nicolau. And then just to mess with it, Holland right at the top because his odds should make it anywhere between like plus 400 or something like that. So it'd be good times.
There it is. Hey, I'm so glad fights are back. This card really for free is like, I mean, it's not worth it because we're not paying for it, but like, it's really like a nice card. It's a nice card. This is the kind of card that they used to give us, I feel like.
I agree.
And I haven't seen it in a while. So I'm excited for this card because it feels like, when it was really going well for me with this, you know what I mean?
Good times ahead.
Excited. Drew, are you going?
Ahead. I was gonna end up going, but my wife has to travel, so I'm just gonna stick with the kiddos, and we're all gonna watch UFC Orlando.
Yes.
Worth it.
Hey, everybody, check the Twitter this weekend because if my picks, those crazy picks, beat these two down here, you will be seeing me tweet hardcore. Okay, and I don't care if they called me crazy or whatever they're gonna call. I
And
don't care.
Barberena beats RDA. I will be on the show next week, and you can rub it in my face the entire
Oh yeah.
show. All right.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
I'll make sure I can get a show then because I haven't been on in a while. So it's we got Granite on. What's up, player? What's up, Granite? Yeah, we're here, baby. We 19-9 last week. Good for you, Granite. Way to come with it. Hey, I was off last week. I did terrible last week or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, hey guys, thanks for coming on. It was really great to have you. A really good flow. I knew you two would get along. You guys should follow each other if you don't.
We do now. Similar
cloths and two of my favorites. So anyway, you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the fights, and I'll see you guys next time. All right.
Definitely.
Peace.
Hey, take it easy.
Yeah.